They call it the fastest blockchain in the world, an Ethereum killer that can chew through thousands of transactions for pennies. It's caught the eye of giants like Visa and JP Morgan, and it's the engine for a whole new world of decentralized finance. Solana was built for one thing: speed. But that's not the whole story. What about the catastrophic network failures that have frozen the entire ecosystem for hours? Or the 9-figure security breaches that have drained hundreds of millions from users? And the nagging question that won't go away: is this a truly decentralized revolution, or just a centralized system in disguise? So, what's the real story with Solana? Is it the future of finance, or a time bomb waiting to go off? We're about to pull back the curtain on the shocking truths you need to know. They call it the fastest blockchain in the world, an Ethereum killer that can chew through thousands of transactions for pennies. It's caught the eye of giants like Visa and JP Morgan, and it's the engine for a whole new world of decentralized finance. Solana was built for one thing: speed. But that's not the whole story. What about the catastrophic network failures that have frozen the entire ecosystem for hours? Or the 9-figure security breaches that have drained hundreds of millions from users, and the nagging question that won't go away: is this a truly decentralized revolution, or just a centralized system in disguise? So what's the real story with Solana? Is it the future of finance, or a time bomb waiting to go off? We're about to pull back the curtain on the shocking truths you need to know. You can't talk about Solana's weaknesses without starting with its most infamous problem: the outages. For a blockchain that sells its reputation on performance, its history is littered with moments where it just stopped. Between 2021 and 2022, the network was notoriously flaky, suffering multiple major outages. One of the worst was in September 2021, when a flood of transactions from a token launch brought the network to its knees for a grueling 17 hours. Imagine the entire global financial system just freezing. For Solana users, that nightmare became a reality. And these weren't one-off events. Throughout 2022, the network was repeatedly choked by bots and spam transactions that slowed it to a crawl or shut it down completely. The very computers meant to secure the network, the validators, couldn't agree on the state of the chain, forcing manual, coordinated restarts. The most recent major failure hit on February 6, 2024, when a software bug sent validators into an infinite loop, freezing the network for nearly 5 hours. While things have been much more stable since, Solana status shows no major incidents in over a year, this history casts a long shadow. The outages were a direct result of prioritizing speed above all else, and it revealed a deep-seated fragility. So the question for users and developers is a heavy one. Has the ghost of outages past really been exorcised, or is it just waiting for the next big stress test? Beyond the network's own stability, the Solana ecosystem has been a playground for hackers, leading to some of the biggest heists in crypto history. Beyond the network's own stability, the Solana ecosystem has been a playground for hackers, leading to some of the biggest heists in crypto history. Let's be clear, the core Solana protocol itself has never been breached, but the apps and bridges built on top of it, they've been catastrophically vulnerable, with total losses from various incidents hitting around $600 million. The most infamous disaster was the wormhole bridge exploit in February 2022. A hacker found a bug in the bridge's code, forged a digital signature, and minted 120,000 wrapped Ether on Solana out of thin air. The price tag? A staggering $325 million loss. While a major backer, Jump Crypto, stepped in to cover the funds, the event shattered user confidence and exposed the massive risks of these cross-chain bridges. But the bleeding didn't stop there. The Mango Markets exchange was drained of $114 million after an attacker cleverly manipulated market prices to take out huge, unbacked loans. Then there was the Slope Mobile wallet, where a horrifying vulnerability leaked the private keys of over 9,000 users, allowing attackers to siphon about $8 million directly from their wallets. This wasn't a blockchain flaw, but a devastating failure by a third-party app that left users completely exposed. These events highlight a critical truth. Solana's speed and low costs make it a fantastic place for developers to build, but it also creates a fertile ground for rushed projects with unaudited code. For the average user, the constant threat of a bug in an app they're using remains one of Solana's most terrifying realities. Maybe the most persistent criticism against Solana is that it sacrifices true decentralization for raw performance. The argument, often thrown around with the label VC coin, points to a few structural issues that challenge its revolutionary claims. First, there's the hardware problem. Running a Solana validator is incredibly expensive. It requires a high-end computer setup and a blazing fast internet connection, which means most validators operate out of professional data centers. This high barrier to entry naturally limits who can participate in securing the network. While Ethereum is secured by well over 900,000 validators, Solana's count is far lower. In fact, recent data shows its validator count has hovered around 800 to 900, a significant drop from its previous peaks. This leads to another worry: stake concentration. A fairly small number of validators control a huge chunk of the staked SOL, giving them an outsized voice in how the network runs. This became crystal clear when a major bug required an urgent, coordinated update from validators, raising the uncomfortable question of how easily a small group could collude to halt or even censor the network. Finally, Solana's early token distribution heavily favored venture capitalists and insiders, who got large chunks of the initial supply. Even though the token distribution has spread out over time, the perception that Solana is a network run by a handful of powerful players has been tough to shake. It's not a centralized database, but its architecture makes trade-offs that are fundamentally different from other blockchains, creating pressure points that critics love to point out. Okay, so I've just told you about outages, massive hacks, and centralization concerns. You're probably thinking, so where's the opportunity in all this? Well, to get the full picture, you have to understand the other side of the story. If you're finding this balanced analysis useful, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We're here to give you the unvarnished truth about crypto, not just the hype. Okay, so I've just told you about outages, massive hacks, and centralization concerns. You're probably thinking, so where's the opportunity in all this? Well, to get the full picture, you have to understand the other side of the story. If you're finding this balanced analysis useful, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. We're here to give you the unvarnished truth about crypto, not just the hype. For all its flaws, there's a reason Solana keeps attracting a legion of developers and institutions. Its raw performance is, in many ways, off the charts, with real-world speeds of over 3,000 transactions per second for fees that are a tiny fraction of a cent. Solana makes things possible that just aren't viable on other chains. We're talking high-frequency trading, on-chain social media, and a booming ecosystem of tokenized real-world assets. More importantly, Solana is tackling its biggest weakness head-on: stability. The single most important development here is FireDancer. Built by Jump Crypto, FireDancer is a completely new, independent validator client. This is a huge deal because nearly all of Solana's past outages came from a bug in its one and only dominant client software. By introducing a second, totally separate client, Solana dramatically lowers the risk that a single bug can crash the whole network, the same strategy Ethereum uses to stay resilient. FireDancer, which began rolling out on the mainnet in late 2025, isn't just about stability. It's a massive performance boost. In tests, it's handled over 1 million transactions per second, pointing to a future where network congestion could be a thing of the past. As of December 2025, the new client was already running on over 20% of the network's validators. This, combined with upgrades like local fee markets that prevent spam from overwhelming the chain and the upcoming Alpenglow upgrade set to slash transaction finality times in early 2026, is a powerful answer to the network's troubled past. The ultimate test for any blockchain is whether people actually use it. And on that front, Solana is firing on all cylinders. Developers have been flocking to the platform, drawn by the high performance and cheap fees. Major projects like Helium, a decentralized wireless network, and Render, a distributed GPU rendering network, have migrated their entire ecosystems over to Solana, praising its superior tech. Even more telling is the wave of institutional adoption. In a huge vote of confidence, JP Morgan used Solana to test tokenized financial instruments. Visa expanded its stablecoin settlement program to include Solana, celebrating its ability to act as a high-speed rail for modern payments. This momentum is creating real-world results. In early 2026, assets in spot Solana ETFs soared past the $1 billion mark, giving traditional investors a regulated way to get exposure. At the same time, the value of tokenized real-world assets on Solana, like private credit and treasuries, is approaching $1 billion. And the value of stablecoins on the network has more than doubled in the past year, showing just how useful it is for payments. So, we're left with two conflicting truths. On one hand, Solana is a network with a scarred history. It has buckled under pressure, its ecosystem has been exploited for hundreds of millions, and it faces tough questions about its decentralization. On the other hand, it's a technological beast that has attracted some of the biggest names in finance and tech. It is aggressively solving its core stability issues with upgrades like FireDancer and is seeing an explosion of real-world use, from payments to tokenized assets. The shocking truth about Solana is that both of these stories are true. It's a blockchain at a crossroads. Its future isn't guaranteed. It all hinges on whether the incredible promise of its technology can finally overshadow the ghosts of its past. This makes it one of the most high-risk, high-reward plays in all of crypto. Is it a flawed experiment or the future of a tokenized world? That's the billion-dollar question you're now equipped to answer for yourself. What do you think? Is Solana's past too much to overcome, or is its future too bright to ignore? Let me know in the comments below.